Picture a small boat, low and dark, running across the Black Sea at night. No crew, no lights, no one aboard at all. That little boat is about to do something that wasn't supposed to be possible, because this isn't a boat carrying a bomb. For most of this war, that's exactly what Ukraine's sea drones were. Floating warheads that raced at Russian warships and blew up on impact. Deadly, but simple. One drone, one target, one explosion, gone. This one is different. This one is a mothership, and somewhere off the coast of occupied Crimea. It hatches open and it launches aircraft. Let me show you how Ukraine has quietly turned a drone boat into an unmanned mother, ship the size of a speedboat, carrying aircraft to the enemy shore, and why Russia now has a whole new direction to defend against. Its story comes in 3 acts. The third one is the revolution. It's called the MAGURA, a family of Ukrainian unmanned surface vessels built by a Ukrainian company and run by a special unit of Ukraine's military intelligence known as Group 13. And the reason the latest operation matters is music. And what this boat learned to do, step by step. Act 1, Ukraine taught the boat to kill ships. In its first incarnation, the MAGURA was essentially a floating warhead. A fast, unmanned boat that raced at Russian vessels and detonated, and it was devastatingly effective, according to Ukraine's military intelligence. MAGURA drones and the crews running them destroyed Russian vessels and damaged 5 more, part of the broader Ukrainian campaign that forced Russia to rethink where and how it could operate. Black Sea Fleet. Act 2, Ukraine taught the boat to shoot up. They adapted air-to-air missiles for launch from these little boats and started hunting aircraft. Ukraine credits MAGURA drones with destroying Russian helicopters, and then in a genuine world, first shooting down Russian fighter jets over the Black Sea, boats with no one aboard, knocking a fighter jet out of the sky. That alone rewrote a page of naval warfare. But through both of those acts, one hard limit defined everything. For the conventional explosive sea rope, the coastline was a wall. It could only attack what it could physically reach across the water, put a valuable target far enough inland. And the boat itself simply couldn't touch it. Its reach ended where the water ended. Act 3, he raises that wall. And it may end up mattering more than the first 2 combined. Before we proceed, I have a small favor to ask. This is a small channel, and if you're enjoying this kind of analysis, please consider subscribing. It genuinely helps. You too understand that people want to see these videos and gives them a better chance of reaching viewers who, well, might otherwise never find them. Now, let's get back to it. First, Ukraine taught the MAGURA to attack ships. Then, it taught it to attack aircraft. And now, it has taught it to carry aircraft. Because in late July 2026, Group 13 ran an operation that changed the category of weapon entirely. Ukraine's defense intelligence released footage of it. And this is the part that I want to be precise about, because it's the heart of the story. The MAGURA didn't ram anything. It sailed close to occupied Crimea and became a launch platform carrier. From the boat, Ukrainian operators launched FPV drones, small, fast, first-person view, attack drones. The kind that normally flown from a soldier's backpack a few kilometers from the front, except now they weren't launched from land. They were launched from the sea, from an unmanned vessel, and sent inland at targets on Russian-held ground. And what they hit tells you the intent, according to Ukraine's defense intelligence. The FPV drone struck 2 radar-related targets. The command vehicle of a pod-lit radar music complex and a parole for a device Russia uses to tell friend from the electronic backbone of an air defense network, not random buildings. The eyes and the nervous system music of Russia's air defenses in Crimea. The commander of Group 13, who goes by the call sign 13, put it bluntly. From now on, he said, the MAGURA threaten music, the occupiers on land as well, and that, in his words, shifts the fight into a new dimension. Now, that's a Ukrainian military intelligence statement, and I'll flag every claim like that as we go. But the footage of a sea drone launching aerial drones at land targets is exactly the kind of thing that's hard to fake, and it's easy to build on. And build on it. They did. Because then came August 10th, and the escalation that grabbed headlines. Ukraine's defense intelligence posted new footage from the same Group 13 using the same MAGURA platforms, music, carrying FPV drones, and claimed a far bigger prize this time. Not just radar, but 2 S-400 launches, plus an antenna used to control Russia's Orion strike drones in occupied Crimea. The S-400 is Russia's premier long-range air defense system, the crown jewel. The thing that Russia parks around Moscow and its most valuable sites. Ukraine said the strike may have inflicted tens of millions of dollars in losses. And here is where the honest version matters. There's a problem with the spectacular footage Ukraine released. Now, we know something was hit. We know Ukraine's military intelligence says the targets were 2 S-400 launches and the Orion antenna. That's an on-air claim from her. But I guess, and they put out music video to back it. What we don't know is whether Ukraine destroyed everything it thinks it destroyed. Look closely and the picture gets murkier. Some open source analysts, including Ukrainian ones, studied that footage and came away suspicious that one of the two launches may have been a decoy. The cheap mock-ups. Russia deliberately scatters around to soak up expensive music strikes, and even a clean hit on film isn't the same as a confirmed kill. Launches can be repaired. Components can be swapped from stock.com. So somewhere between Ukraine obliterated to S-400 and Ukraine hit a decoy, well, the truth is still settling, and that uncertainty is itself part of the story. But notice something though, even the cautious version is remarkable. Because the headline here was never really that it's a 400, it's the delivery system. And that raises the question that actually matters bigger than any single launcher. What happens when Ukraine sea drones no longer have to physically reach the target? Because now Moscow has a genuine dilemma and every answer is bad. Move the radars and launches further inland beyond the reach of these FPVs. Then you've pulled valuable air defense assets away from the coastline that they were helping to protect. And Ukraine has every incentive to keep extending the drone's reach. Try to shield the whole coastline instead. Well, Crimea alone has hundreds of kilometers of it. Cannot make all of it a fortress. Hunt the carrier before it launches. Well, first you have to find a small, dark, unmanned boat somewhere in the vastness of the Black Sea at night. Shoot the FPVs down once they're airborne. Well, now Russia has to wrap up. Another layer of short range. Defense are on the very radars and launches the drones are hunting, every valuable system needing yet another system to guard it. That's the trap. Ukraine hasn't made Russian air defense useless. It's done something subtler and harder to counter. It's opened a new direction the defenders have to watch, from a launch point that can appear anywhere along the sea. And that reframes the weapon itself. A kamikaze, sea drone, is a munition. It dies with its target. But a boat that carries other drones is a launch platform, and a platform can carry more than FPV's reconnaissance drones to see deeper inland. Electronic warfare payloads, relays to extend everyone else's range. Those are the possibilities the concept opens up, not things Ukraine has shown. But, you see, that's the point. Ukraine hasn't just built another drone, it's demonstrated a new way of delivering them from the sea, with no one aboard against the land. And you don't defeat a new delivery method by shooting down one more drone. None of this makes them more a magic weapon. These are still special operations, not a daily campaign. The boats remain vulnerable to weather, jamming, and Russian patrols. Russia can disperse its valuable systems, set out decoys, and adapt its defenses. And an FPV hit does not automatically mean a multi-million-dollar systems being destroyed. The capability is real. Its ultimate battlefield impact is still being tested. But what this actually is a new tool, and a new problem for Moscow that didn't exist a year ago. But step back from the boat for a second, because the boat is really a symptom of something much larger about this war at sea. When Russia invaded the Black Sea was supposed to be the most lopsided theater of the entire conflict. Russia had a real navy, cruisers, submarines, an entire fleet with a century of history at Sevastopol. Ukraine had almost nothing that could float and fight. By every conventional measure, this was Russia's ocean, and it wasn't close. So, Ukraine stopped playing Russia's game. It couldn't match Russia's ship for ship, so it started changing what counted as a ship. The MAGURA is that idea in miniature. Every time Russia solved the last version of the problem, sending warships and then aircraft to hunt the boats and then pulling valuable systems inland. Ukraine changed the problem again, and it made the trade brutally asymmetrical. Small, expendable drones, no Ukrainian pilot aboard any part of the chain, thrown at sophisticated systems worth vastly more and far slower to replace. That's not luck. And it's not one clever gadget. It's a doctrine. It's how a country that could never win Russia's kind of naval war has spent 4 years imposing real costs on Russia's fleet anyway. Not by building a better navy, but by refusing to fight the war Russia prepared for. For most of naval history, aircraft carrier meant the single most expensive, most heavily defended machine a nation could put to sea. A floating city with thousands of sailors. The ultimate symbol of a superpower's reach. Ukraine, which began this war with almost no navy at all, has arrived at a crude, brilliant, miniature version of the same idea. A boat with no one on it that carries aircraft to the enemy shore. It can't project power across an ocean, but it doesn't need to. It only needs to reach a little further than it used to, and to turn a coastline into a launch pad pointed the wrong way. The waterline used to mark where the sea drone's reach ended. Ukraine just towed a boat across it.